I've been playing Assassin's Creed games for over 15 years, and now it's time to test my mettle by attempting to platinum every game in the series, starting with Assassin's Creed Origins. Assassin's Creed Origins marked a huge turning point for the series, changing the formula in several ways from the open world to its gameplay. It also went to great lengths to ensure that you'll be spending more time than ever trying to obtain the Platinum Trophy. But will that additional time and content be worth it? Let's find out. Context for this playthrough. I first played this game during lockdown in 2020 alongside a couple of other games. Back then, I didn't think much of it. The story was fine, the gameplay was decent, and the open world had an interesting appeal at first, but it eventually wore off as I just wanted to reach the credits the longer I played. Since then, however, I felt that I never gave this game a fair chance, which is partly what this Platinum Run is for. To give Assassin's Creed Origins the chance to show me everything it has to offer. There are over 50 trophies to unlock throughout your playthrough, but the trophies in this game can be divided into three categories. Story trophies, which are simply trophies obtained for progressing up to various points throughout the main narrative. Open world trophies, which you obtain by finding and exploring locations throughout the open world, and you will need to discover every single location on the map if you want the Platinum Trophy. And finally, the miscellaneous trophies. These are acquired through completing different and sometimes random activities in the game. These can range from unlocking a master ability to literally wandering around the desert until you hallucinate enough to the point where it rains bugs. One of the biggest indicators as to whether you should platinum this game is right at the very beginning, during the opening section in Siwa. You control the main character Bayek, and this area very much serves as a tutorial for what is in store for you. Complete with story missions, side quests, open world objectives, and even invisible walls. This is very much a mini version of what the entirety of Egypt will offer in this game. And in all honesty, this area does do a good job of introducing the player to the game and what it has to offer. We will be able to return to Siwa later in the story, but I would recommend trying to do as much as possible here to give yourself a feel for what the game has to offer. You'll even get a few trophies doing this. It's important you gain an understanding of Siwa now, because if you find this area unenjoyable, it might be better for you to clock out now, because as a word of warning, what you'll experience here won't be too different from the requirements of the other areas in the game, apart from a change in some of the visuals. I want you to see if it's worth it early, rather than spending hours trying to platinum a game you'll eventually come to loathe. Towards the end of this section, we witness a key moment in the story regarding the death of Bayek's son. This sets him, as well as us the player, on a journey of revenge that sets the tone of the story for the rest of the game. Afterwards, we wake up in the modern day and take control of Layla. This is the beginning of a multi-game saga around which, like Desmond before her, I just do not care for at all. It's not helped by the fact that outside a couple of story trophies, playing as Layla contributes nothing meaningful to obtaining the Platinum Trophy. You can do some activities with her, but given how long it already takes to platinum this game, why would you want to? Anyways, after Layla's section is done, let's hop back into the Animus and get on with the rest of the game. When we return to playing as Bayek, some time has passed, and we are here in the first of what will be many new areas in Egypt. Looking at the map, we can already see some activities available. Get used to seeing many more of those question marks and viewpoint indicators, because there are a lot of them. If you've enjoyed the tutorial section and still want to continue the game, then arguably the most important aspect for whether you want to platinum this game or not needs to be considered. It's what many gamers and Assassin's Creed fans alike have come to dub the Ubisoft Formula, and this will make or break your platinum journey. The Ubisoft Formula is a series of features that appear in almost every Ubisoft open world game, and are predominantly associated with the Assassin's Creed series. These features include, but are not limited to, viewpoints that you must synchronize in order to find all the locations in the area, various enemy camps where you must fulfill at least one or two objectives while clearing it, a high amount of side quests which you will need to complete for a handful of trophies, and are the most effective ways to level up, especially at the beginning, miscellaneous areas involving puzzles unconnected to the rest of the world around it, several types of animals to skin and turn into equipment. I haven't even mentioned all the other features, and this is on top of progressing with the story and objectives. With that said, I'm a sucker for this formula. Despite what I've said earlier, I really do enjoy it. The best way to describe it is that it clicks with me, especially when it takes place in an interesting historical setting like ancient Egypt. I just want you, the viewer, to understand what you'll be up against if you're considering trying to going for the platinum in a game like this, or really any other Ubisoft game. It's important to know that Ubisoft aren't the only company that are known for doing this, but they are the most synonymous with this type of formula. Now, for the meat and potatoes of the game. Bayek's journey will take him across the many areas of Egypt as he pursues the Order of the Ancients in order to avenge the death of his son. He will run into many enemies and friends, including his wife Aya and the rightful pharaoh herself, Cleopatra. Aya does play an important role in the story, where you will even get to control her in linear story sections a handful of times. One of the story trophies is even related to her in regards to the Roman ships, which will play a key role later on if you're invested in the story. There is an attempt to blend both Bayek's quest for revenge and stopping the Order of the Ancients, as these mysterious people were responsible for the death of his son. I appreciate this, and with regards to just reaching the end credits, it mostly works. It gives the player a more personal reason to pursue the Order of the Ancients outside of them just being the bad guys. But how does this fit in with regards to obtaining the platinum? Well, after you do reach the credits, you're really only halfway there. Enter the Old Habits trophy. If you've been following the story the entire time, you'll notice that around a third of the map is still fogged with recommended levels higher than what the final story mission was. Your journey to the platinum is far from finished. You'll need to visit each and every one of these locations, not only to receive a trophy for defogging the map, but you'll also have to complete every location within every region in Egypt. These include the ones you've already visited, so I hope you've been keeping track. And you can't just visit them. Each location also has at least 1 or 2 objectives, which, yes, you have to complete in order to obtain the Old Habits trophy. This trophy is why it takes most people at least 50 hours to platinum the game, and what most of my time during this playthrough is spent doing. It might sound daunting, but there is a way to potentially streamline the experience. This next part is generally considered to be the optimal way to the platinum, as it will take into account both the story trophies and the Old Habits trophy. During your pursuit of story trophies, each mission will take place in a different location. When you do arrive in a different region, you'll want to prioritize exploring, discovering, and completing every location in that region before tackling the story-related events. I recommend this as in most cases, once you've found and assassinated the target in that region, there'll be no need to return to that location again. Therefore, completing all the locations in that region will reduce the need to backtrack to different areas. From my personal experience, I also found the exploration of these regions to be a nice change of pace from the story, as there are some interesting areas in the game, like the city of Alexandria. However, not all places are equal, as there are places like these deserts on the edge of the map with no locations to find at all, and made me wonder why they did even included these. In general, the desert areas are very large and very barren, with only a few locations to visit, and I will be honest, this type of padding is just not necessary, and it looks like it was only added to prolong the experience. During these periods of exploration, you'll very likely also achieve some of the miscellaneous trophies from just naturally exploring. From my playthrough, these include killing an enemy with a predator bow from over 60 meters away, headshotting an enemy with a bow while in the air, running away from 3 hippos, solving a papyrus mystery, defeating a Phalakes, which is a very high level enemy that will attack you on sight, selling 100 trinkets at once, using the Dawn and Dusk ability 30 times, finishing an arena boss with an overpowered attack, and killing 10 enemies in a row without being detected. After all this, ideally around 2/3 of the map should be fully explored by the time you finish the story. This hopefully means that the post-game exploration won't seem as monumental as it initially appeared. Another important aspect of the Old Habits trophy is that every other exploration-based trophy is linked to it. If you followed the plan of exploring every region you reach in the story, then you might have already gotten some of these. A couple I personally achieved before the end of the story was completing 15 underwater locations and defeating 8 ship captains. The rest of the exploration trophies shouldn't take you too long and aren't particularly difficult, although like with many larger games, finding all the locations will probably test your patience if you don't mentally prepare yourself for it. The only exception, ironically, was when I encountered the hardest enemies in the game, the elephant bosses. There are 5 locations that contain elephants you must defeat in order to complete their locations. These fights were some of the funniest and worthwhile trophies to achieve in the open world. It's moments like these that reassure me that obtaining the platinum in these large games can be enjoyable too. Anyway, after all of that, I finally defogged the map and completed all the locations on the map by completing the final ancient tomb. Then, the Old Habits trophy finally popped. With the bulk of the game done, and giving a sigh of relief, there were only a handful of trophies left to obtain. I went to the Hippodrome and won a Hippodrome tournament while also destroying an opponent's vehicle as we crossed the line, which made for an interesting slow motion finish. Luckily, we only needed to complete one tournament for the platinum, which is good because after the Old Habits trophy, my patience was wearing thin. I then immediately went to the Crocodilopolis arena, where I did have to complete all the arena events. It took a little longer, but at this point I was at the highest level and most of the enemies had little to no threat. All that remained were a few miscellaneous trophies, but they were some of the most annoying ones. These include killing 30 enemies by shooting oil jars, and bringing a tamed lion to a crocodile. They were tedious, but doable. However, the one trophy that I found genuinely annoying was the one where you had to witness raining bugs in the desert. The only way to obtain this is to wander the desert in the middle of the day, and eventually you'll hallucinate it. The problem is that there are several potential hallucinations that could appear while you just run around aimlessly. It took me over an hour to get to this point where I thought I was doing something wrong, but then I checked online. Apparently it's just generally agreed that it's very random. It can take you anywhere from a couple of minutes to over an hour, like what happened to me. But eventually I did see the raining bugs and the trophy popped. That left just one trophy, which was taking a photo in 5 different areas of the map. It ironically was the easiest one in the entire game, and I'm surprised that I hadn't actually gotten it sooner, but anyways, I took a few more photos, the final trophy popped, and the platinum appeared. My journey was over. After all that, and 50 hours later, what did I think? From a personal perspective, I enjoyed this playthrough more than my first. I definitely had a greater appreciation for its better qualities. And yes, it did make some improvements over what had come before. From a trophy hunter perspective, well, your feelings might vary. Obtaining the platinum isn't difficult, it's just time consuming. The biggest test to overcome is your patience and how quickly it will wear. If these are the types of games you like, then sure, go ahead and chase the platinum. I definitely think it's worth checking out until the end credits at the very least. If you want to go the full distance, then you'll need to approach the game with the completionist mentality from the very beginning. It will reduce the tedium at least a bit. Anyway, if you reached the end of the video, thank you so much for watching, you absolute legend, and good luck on your trophy hunting journey.